Hi there, it's Vanessa from Cove, and you're listening to the 88th edition of The Networker. This week's edition kept returning to a theme that's easy to nod along with and much harder to actually practice. Real connection is built through intention, not proximity. Just being near someone, or online at the same time, or on the same team, doesn't do the work on its own. So let's get into what does. We open with a piece from the Cove blog recapping June's Joyful Connection Masterclass, and this one gave me a genuinely useful reframe. Depth doesn't come from spending more time with someone. It comes from the questions we choose to ask. 4 facilitators showed how a single better prompt turns small talk into something real. Instead of asking where someone is from, ask what about that place shaped who they are today. Instead of how was your day, ask what they've been thinking about lately. The fact stays the same. The story that comes back is completely different. Fast Company brings a piece I think every leader should sit with. Workday's new Human Connection Workplace Index finds that AI is making employees more productive, yes, but also more likely to skip personal conversations with colleagues entirely. Some have even taken time off due to loneliness. The concern isn't that AI is bad. It's that when disagreement, confusion, and conflict resolution all get outsourced to an always available, never judgmental tool, the muscles for handling those things with actual humans start to weaken. Gen Z, who use AI the most, are already reporting the most loneliness at work. That's worth paying attention to, regardless of your own age or habits. Next, Forbes Human Resources Council pulls together 20 lessons that experienced leaders say no classroom ever taught them. Crisis doesn't build character, it reveals it. Compassion without discernment isn't kindness, it's avoidance with better branding. Culture is a leadership outcome, not an HR initiative. What struck me reading through all 20 is how consistently they point to the same thing. Trust and dignity are earned in the room, one decision at a time, and no amount of theory substitutes for that. Moving on, Psychology Today runs a piece on segmenters and integrators that I think explains a lot of quiet friction on teams. Some people need work and life kept firmly separate. Others prefer to blend the two throughout the day without it feeling disruptive. The research is clear that weaker leaders assume everyone works the way they do. Great leaders ask, learn the difference, and adjust. A segmenter forced to answer emails at dinner burns out. An integrator boxed into rigid hours disengages. Neither preference is wrong. Assuming your own is universal is the actual mistake. Back to Fast Company, who also cover the competitive edge small businesses cannot afford to ignore. And the number that stopped me was this. 74% of consumers say a lack of human connection will drive them to abandon a business after just a few bad experiences. The piece uses the wedding industry as its case study, where personality and vibe are top deciding factors for couples choosing vendors. The framing that stuck with me is return on relationship as a real metric alongside return on investment. Let AI handle the administrative load. Keep the human moments in human hands. We close the articles with research from MIT Sloan Management Review on hospital frontline workers, and the numbers are worth sitting with. Over 80% of the 150 nurses surveyed wanted to engage in innovative activities. Fewer than half felt they had the opportunity. 70% said they rarely or never communicate their ideas. Middle managers, which is the layer many organizations are cutting in anticipation of an AI-driven future, turn out to be essential for translating frontline insight into anything that actually gets built. The people closest to the work usually know how to improve it. Most organizations never create the space to even ask. Before we wrap up, let's turn to this week's recommendations. Our book of the week is Humble Leadership by Edgar and Peter Schein. The argument is direct. Traditional leadership built on hierarchy and professional distance is growing outdated as work becomes more complex and interdependent. The Scheins call for a more personal form of leadership rooted in open, trusting relationships and psychological safety, not as a soft addition to good leadership, but as the actual mechanism that makes collaborative problem solving and real innovation possible. It's a foundational read for anyone rethinking what leadership looks like in a more connected, less hierarchical world. And our podcast of the week is Think Fast, Talk Smart, featuring behavioral researcher Vanessa Van Edwards on what she calls trust at first sight. Her core argument is that the most effective communicators aren't the most polished ones. They're the ones who remove friction by aligning gestures, body language, and presence with what the other person actually needs. Her platinum rule reframes the whole exercise. Instead of treating people how you'd want to be treated, ask what this specific person needs from you right now. It's a genuinely practical episode, and the 1 minute exercise she offers is worth trying before your next important conversation. That's all for the 88th edition of The Networker. The thread this week is intention, the better question asked on purpose, the human conversation chosen over the easy AI one, the leader who asks rather than assumes how someone else works best, the business that keeps a human in the moments that matter most. None of it happens by default. All of it happens because someone decided it should. Until next time, stay connected, stay deliberate, and remember, your network isn't defined by how many people you reach. It's defined by how intentionally you build. And don't forget, the full edition of The Networker is waiting for you in your inbox. I'll see you next time.